I love this new intro.
What miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold.
Our own little trap music fest happening, right? Is this trap music? It's EDM. Maybe.
Welcome to All Gold Everything, a podcast for people who want to sip some tea tonight. I'm one of your hosts, Heidi.
I'm Sandy.
I was just listening back on some old shows and realized that we had stopped introducing ourselves.
Oh, because they know who we are.
I know, yeah. So
That's Heidi. That's Sandy.
And we're here to...
We're just going to get right into it.
We're going to get it right into all of it. We are
introductions.
sipping tea from the kettle tonight because if you're watching our show on YouTube, we're broadcasting to you from the kettle, the Kardashian Jenner home in Calabasas. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
I need if we could green screen our big gulps into teacups, that would be amazing. Oh, put your pinky up. Pinky's up. There we go. Part of the reason that we're coming to you from the Kardashian home in Calabasas today, the center, the hearth, the matriarchs, I don't know. Uh-oh. There you are.
Oh, there I am.
There you are. Today is big news coming out of the Kardashian machine. So the story broke today that...
Aren't they entertaining us?
They are entertaining us.
Aren't they, though?
Do I feel when you ask it that way, it's making me second guess, like,
Let's just go
am
with
I
it.
supposed to be having this much pleasure out of someone's pain? I mean, it sounds like it might be painful.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So Khloe Kardashian, I think she's the youngest of the of the main three sisters.
Khloe is?
Yeah. I think that Kourtney's the oldest, Kim's the middle, and Khloe's the youngest, is my guess.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So that's
think so.
new Kardashian info for
There
me.
you
Thank
go.
you.
Okay, I did my research.
Educated.
Well, we do play fast and loose with the facts, so that might not be true.
You know what? It actually sounds legitimate because I do think that Kourtney is the oldest.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
anyway,
I don't know why I think that. It just sounds like that makes sense.
no, you've heard it somewhere. It's just been imprinted
in
in your
there
brain.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's way back there.
Okay.
So you have other more important things to think about than like the birth order of the Kardashian sisters. But
Well, I mean, that's all relative.
that's true. So Khloe Kardashian has been involved with basketballer Tristan Thompson, who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. There was a story that broke right before.
Man boy.
Yes, right before she just had his baby, like, I don't know, this summer or something, maybe June or July or something. And there was a story that broke that he had cheated on her. And she was apparently willing to give him one more shot, wanted to really make things work, blah, blah, blah. And then...
Because that worked really well with Lamar.
I mean, does it ever really work is my question. I don't know. Maybe that's for another show. But so anyway...
We can get into that too.
We could. The story broke today.
Because things changed once. Did they get married? Is she married to Tristan? She's not married to Tristan.
She's not married to Tristan. She was married to Lamar Odom, though.
Because she stuck by his side too to the extent that she could.
She did. She did.
She was like, I'm going to stand by my man.
Yeah, she is one of those women that is like, I mean, not knowing her personally, from the public persona, it seems like she is like ready to be committed.
Her character is the character that is going to stand by her man.
Yes, her character. Yes, Kris Kardashian was like, you're the one that's going to stand by your man. Kim's going to make the sex tapes. Kourtney's going to have the kids. Here we go. So anyway, today the story broke that her partner, Tristan Thompson, has been spotted making out with Jordan Woods, who we have a photo of, who is coming up on, if you're watching us on YouTube. Jordan Woods is the 21-year-old best friend of Kylie Jenner,
#bestie.
Khloe's younger sister. So the internet is exploding over this today. I mean, I just feel like...
Well played, Kardashians.
There are a couple things I was thinking about this. First of all, this 21-year-old, she is a baby.
Yes.
She is a baby.
Yes.
That was the first thing that crossed my mind. This woman is a baby. And then the second thing I was thinking is like...
So is he, to be honest.
Right. I mean,
He's
childish.
like 26.
He is. I didn't know he was that young.
Yeah.
I didn't do my research very well
I mean,
this.
I guessed.
Mm-hmm.
I think I must have heard that somewhere. But if you think about an NBA player, like kind of new to the game, that sounds
Gotta be
about right.
Yeah, you're right. That makes a lot of sense. So he's also a baby. And the other thing I was thinking of is like, I just don't know how insane you would have to be
Babies having babies.
to be a man and cross the Kardashian family. Do you think I have more fear around it? That doesn't seem to be problematic to you.
I mean, there's a long laundry list
I know.
of them.
That's true.
I have so much I have so much knowing around all this bullshit.
Yes.
The first piece of knowing I have is like, this isn't new, and we're no fools. This is what the Kardashians do.
That's true, and we're all talking about them today.
This is how they stay relevant, and this is how they stay and get rich. I mean, I'm not like trying to like talk down to them. Like they have pioneered this new form of entertainment via social media. Like this is our new soap opera. Like this
You are right.
You
are
know,
right.
And so this is what they're doing, and this is, and like in a way it is pioneering. So I'm not trying to like talk down on them, but they are entertainment. They
That's
are
true.
entertainers. This is entertainment. Now, the next question is it real? Because that doesn't automatically mean it's not real.
That's true. Could be
Because
both.
they're also like a different breed of people, just like a lot of these. Oh God, this is gonna sound real fucked up.
Say
a lot of these millennials are.
Yeah.
So within this culture of this new entertainment is this like incredibly reduced sense of values.
Right.
So the values now are around image, selfies,
Followers, influencing.
Right.
Right.
So you take
Hooker light.
So let's say, like, because what I know, like my deep knowing is this is the game, and I watch The Wire, and I know the game is the game. Like,
I love that everything comes back to The Wire.
Right. And
Do not fuck with the real Sandy J.
The Wire
Because she'll
can-
consult The Wire, and then she'll tell
The
you what's
Wire
what.
will really teach you everything you need to know about life. And so, this is the game. You can't get out the game. This is the game. Like we're in it. So what I'm thinking is, so just because this is the game, that doesn't necessarily mean it's all fabricated. Like this, like Chloe? No. Yeah. Chloe could really be being betrayed by this guy.
Well, and she certainly does really have a baby with him. Right? There are real lives that are happening.
Yeah, but it's like, so you think they could all have like a Kardashian Jenner meeting and be like, all right, now you're taking one for the team, Chloe, he's going to do this and this is what we're going to do. And it could be that fabricated, or it could just be that what they're signing up for to be Kardashians in this new form of entertainment is that your life is on blast.
On blast all the time.
And 21-year-olds like
Jordan Woods.
And 20, maybe 6-year-old basketball players, they're human and they're going through their growing shit and they make mistakes. And to boot, they're fucking shallow AF because these are the values that they're entrenched in.
And they all look alike. I don't know how. I'm just saying they kind of are starting. You were mentioning that they have all the same values.
He probably thought it was Kylie. He was like, "Oh shit, I don't know. I thought it was Kylie.
Which
My bad. I thought I was cheating with your sister, not her best friend. My fault." But you know what I'm saying is like they're. I'm not surprised if this did really happen. I'm not surprised a 21-year-old who's come up under Kylie's wing, right? Kylie's basically given her everything she has. Apparently she's a plus size model. Oh. I know, I heard that today.
What? What? Can you put that picture of her back up? Is any of her body even in that picture? Oh, that's...
No, it's not. But we all know how the selfie angles work. Like,
that's
okay,
true,
like
that's true.
This is me on a real camera, beatless.
That's right.
And I could take a selfie and look like that.
Yeah.
Like, let's just keep it real. Like, this is not real.
Filters. Yeah.
This is not real.
Filters.
And there's nothing
fillers.
wrong with being a plus size model.
No.
No,
I was just incredulous about it because I saw pictures of her entire body today, and I mean, she's got a banging body.
And you really only have to be size 10 to be a plus size model.
Yeah, she's no size 10 though.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I hear you on that because, my instinct is like, I have this kind of, I'm not always thinking about Kris Jenner, but I do kind of always feel like.
You kind of are.
She's kind of always back there in my brain because I feel like I've heard this saying, like, the devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder because she's always working to get these girls in public, in pop culture, on everyone's brain, what everyone's talking about, trending, money, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I always feel like I said, how crazy would you have to be a man that crosses Kris Jenner's path?
Not crazy, just young and stupid.
Yeah. But then I realized that actually all of the men that have crossed her, like, really have come out okay. And when I say crossed her, I mean
Lamar.
like crossed the family, except Lamar. And even then, like, he's like alive and doing his thing,
he's
right?
Like brain dead.
I mean, no, he is. No, he's not.
I mean, he kind of is.
Oh.
He's kind of gorked.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, I mean, at least he didn't end up like
he's what we in the medical field called gorked.
I mean, I just kind of feel like, without being too controversial, if you crossed Kris Jenner, I would be worried about ending up wearing a pair of cement shoes in the bottom of the ocean. That's all I'm saying. And so, largely, the men that have crossed her and her family have come out relatively unscathed. Especially, what's that a-hole that's always on and off with the older sister, Scott Disick?
But he's like a celebrity too.
But now he's become a celebrity in his own right.
Right, and they do, and like they have these women accept a lot from men.
Yeah.
I mean, Chloe's not the first one. And it's a different...
It's a whole nother world.
It's a different culture.
It's a whole nother world.
Different culture.
It's a whole nother world. Although, as I was just explaining that to you, I was starting to think, do I have a conspiracy theory about Lamar Odom? Maybe the reason he's gorked is that Kris Jenner got a hold of him.
Well, no, you know why he's gorked, right? Like, you know what happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did a whole bunch of drugs and like overdosed.
In a brothel.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, maybe Kris Jenner put the drugs in his hands. Maybe.
Are you watching The Wire too?
It might be. No.
Or maybe this season of True Detective?
Something to think about. Well, you just mentioned that we are beatless tonight, and that is true. We are doing a makeup-free show. Feels pretty good. How do you feel about it?
I feel good, but I hate the way it looks.
I know. I will say it was convenient to not have to do makeup. It is pretty standard for me. I don't wear a lot of makeup in my regular life. And even as I was leaving my, kind of traditional employment towards the end there, I wasn't wearing any makeup to work anyway. So I just kind of feel like I feel pretty comfortable not wearing makeup. I feel a little less comfortable looking at the monitor and seeing myself wearing less makeup.
Well, you look great.
Thank you. But I have realized that I do enjoy we were talking about makeup a lot on the last show. And I did realize like I do kind of enjoy getting made up for this once a week because it's like probably about the only time of the week that I get really made up. So anyway, we're makeup free tonight. We're going Alicia Keys style. Feels pretty good to be broadcasting from Calabasas, from the Kardashian hearth, from the center of the Kardashian clan, makeup free.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happened to me today, we were outside talking about how we're going to win the Powerball. First of all, you know, our longtime listeners know that we play the Powerball or Mega Millions every week.
Once a week.
This week we won $4.
Woo!
Hey, that's 2 for me, 2 for Sandy. We split everything. But this morning I was out walking the dog. There it is. Make it rain. Please make it rain. Yes. This morning I was out walking the dog Lemon and I took her over to say hello to a neighbor and I stuck my arm out because she was pulling on the leash and my hand was like out like this and a bird shit on my hand. Okay, which is like I feel like that was divinely inspired because like a lot of things had to come together for my hand to be in exactly the right spot to receive a big pile of bird shit on it.
Did you look for a pattern in it?
I didn't, but I thought this is actually good luck.
Like, what if Jesus' face was in the shit or anybody else's Buddha's face?
Khloe Kardashian's.
What? Kris Jenner. Let's keep it real. What if Kris Jenner's face was in the shit?
The title of this YouTube clip will be Kris Jenner's face in bird shit or something like that.
Oh, that might ruin us.
Yeah, we might get buried buried very fast. So anyway, I know that we're gonna win the Powerball because it's supposedly very good luck for us for someone to get shit on by a bird.
Is that true?
I yes.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at on that. Another thing that's kind of making me delighted today is that the Portland Trailblazers recently acquired a new center for their team. This is a Turkish guy named Enes Kanter. I have a picture of him that Mark's going to put up on the YouTube feed. And he seems like an all right guy. He came from the New York Knicks. The reason that this is on my radar, though, is that he recently gave, just like 2 nights ago, he gave an interview to Trevor Noah, who does The Daily Show. And he told Trevor Noah that he learned how to speak English by watching a couple of TV shows. Do you want to take a guess at what it was that he watched what it was that he watched?
I feel like it's got to be Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
It's close. Jersey Shore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He watched The Jersey Shore and SpongeBob SquarePants.
Aww.
So those are the 2 shows that he watched in Turkey to learn English. And it just really gave me hope because we have one listener right now in Egypt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I just really hope that they're learning English by listening to All Gold Everything.
I hope so, too.
Whoever is out there listening to us in Egypt, I hope that we are teaching you great English. If anything, I know we're teaching you vernacular English, the kind of English you're going to need to get by here.
Lots of fucks and shits.
There you go. I want to talk about there's a couple of things happening in TV land. Are you ready to kind of shift gears into not necessarily film, but maybe more traditional entertainment?
Sure.
First of all, there's this story that everyone is talking about nonstop about the Empire star Jussie Smollett.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Should we talk about it at all?
I mean, that's kind of what we do.
It is,
and it's timely because we're putting this down tomorrow, and he just turned himself in today.
Yes. So he plays. I have been seeing all the headlines about him. Now, you and I have both watched Empire.
We sure have.
I remember actually a couple months ago, we were declaring our love for Cookie and all things It must have been actually right when we went to video.
I wonder how Cookie feels about this whole fiasco.
I was thinking about that too. And the dad, the guy who plays Luscious Lion. What is Lucius? Lucius Luscious. I mean, potato. Lucius Lion is oh my God, what is his name? I can't think of his name. Anyway, also a really famous actor. So anyway, this Jesse Smollett, you don't. There you go. You're back. I can't think of his real name either. But anyway, the guy who's in trouble, Jesse Smollett, plays Jamal, who is the son of Lucius and Cookie. And so he is in trouble because he filed a police report last week that he was the subject of a hate crime, racially and sexually motivated hate crime.
And politically.
Yes.
He hit all.
Yes, all the things. You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
So he hit all the alarm bells on that. And people jumped to his defense because I feel like as a culture, we're kind of learning, like, believe that, there's so much happening right now. Believe the victim, yes, blah, 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 all that stuff. So people, a lot of high profile people jumped to his defense. And then it turned out today that the city of Chicago came forward and said that he orchestrated the whole thing. So he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that chief of police or whatever he is, superintendent, was pissed.
Yes, no,
he
I
was
didn't
real
see that,
pissed.
but that's all I've heard. Everything I've heard is that guy was like was on fire.
Yeah, he was mad. Yeah, so like I heard this when it came out, and backing up. We as a country elected Donald Trump, and that was really scary. That was 2 years ago, and I was really, really actually afraid. And what I was afraid of is like sort of overt racism, hate crimes becoming, a thing. And they have. Like they have.
That's true.
This has happened. So when I heard this and I heard how like graphic and awful it was, they put a noose around his neck, they tied bleach on him, they said really awful, offensive things to him. I was so sad for him and so afraid for us as a culture. And it was just very, very scary.
Yeah.
And I
agree.
I actually thought to myself, like, this is over the top. This is too much. This cannot really be happening. But it was very scary. So that was my initial reaction. And then I heard it was a hoax. And before he actually got arrested, and I was just like, oh shit. And then my intuition went off, and everybody was like, no, we're going to believe the victim. And then I was like, no, this rang all my intuition, because he was on some TV show with all the words.
Yeah.
Didn't he have all the words?
Yeah.
He had all the words.
He gave an interview with Good Morning America. Robin, what's her name? I can't think of her last name. Robin.
Like real dramatic, and he had his like LGBTQ community pin and his other
all
pin.
the pins. Yeah,
and I was just like, oh snap! Like this could be true. He really could be making this shit up. And it's like attention-seeking behavior.
Yeah,
of a sick person.
I mean, I was thinking about the kind of narcissism. There's all this explanation around like he was trying to do it because he was mad about his paycheck or whatever. But I mean, really the kind of like egomania and narcissism that comes with making up something of this size, it's like, it's just a really sick person. And that, unfortunately has some really deep ramifications for people who really are victims. It makes it much, it just, the skepticism that comes with something that follows on the heels of this really makes it challenging. Victims already have a hard time being believed, right? It's already scary enough to come forward when something awful happens to you, and then on top of it, now people have a new layer of skepticism with it. So I mean, I think aside from the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department being mad about the misallocation of resources, not being able to, they assigned something like 12 detectives to this case because of the because it was a hate crime, and and the high profileness of it, and so those detectives weren't helping other victims, and then on top of that, now it's like it really does a disservice to people who are harmed,
Yeah. And so that's like kind of what I'm hearing everywhere, that I'm hearing this in the media. But, something else that, I just have to say is there's people all around us who do this. There's people who lie about illnesses, who lie about cancer, who lie about pregnancies. Like this happens. It's a personality malfunction. Yeah. Like this guy has some type of personality disorder, right, or something else going on. And they say that about 5%. Well, like I've heard different statistics. I've been hearing a lot of these stories, and they're like anywhere between 2 and 8% or 5%.
Fred Bush, you can fact check it.
Of like sexual assaults are actually false. So like people do make this up, but it's a very small percentage, and so we just kind of have to keep that in mind. And I guess the other thing I've been hearing, like I hear things on the news, and obviously like, let's just hold our tongues and let's not think we know everything. But at the same time, it's like realize that people can be fucked up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And people can go on TV and lie.
Right. And certainly in a day and age of where like of social media where something can spread so fast, it is really easy to just like get on the bandwagon and, you know, believe what's out there or believe what's moving, you know, and especially once like a credible news source picks it up or something like that, you know, it's like it is really gives us I think really I heard a lot of TV presenters today, you know, like from all the morning shows saying like it really gives us pause to think about what it is we run with,
right?
You know?
Well, and here's the thing too, this whole, like, I guess what I'm saying is I think that it's okay to be skeptical. Like this gives me more validation. I'm a skeptical person and it's okay. And the other thing is I don't have to believe the victim because it's none of my fucking business. That's between him and the police and whoever hurt him. Right. So like really like let's step back and we don't actually have to be judge and jury just because the social media thing is now our new life.
Oh, I like that, Sandy.
Like I don't have to believe or not believe the victim.
Right.
It's none of my fucking business.
Yeah.
And maybe I think that approach is even like the best approach.
Well, it's so interesting because hearing you say that is making me think a little bit about like call out culture and the conversation we had, you know, a couple of months ago about that, where it's like everyone's so quick to have an opinion, to put something out there, to have a judgment, and like to just remember like some of it's none of our fucking business.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You're good, Sandy.
I am good.
You are good. The other thing I heard, which this is I'm not even sure, well, I'm going to mention it now, but the other thing I heard was that, you know, and I appreciated this. There was somebody out there that was saying, you know, if this guy can be indicted for making a false report like this, there are plenty of other people who can be indicted for making false reports. Like there's plenty of like, especially in the last 12 months, there's been like a rash of like white people calling the cops on people of color for absolutely no reason and then not being indicted for making up fake calls or creating fake police work, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you know, it does maybe remind us that like, just because this is a very high profile incident of something that's potentially false, like this stuff happens at a lower grade all the time. Let's go ahead and, you know, pay attention to that too. It
happens all the time. Like just in my, purview with like CPS, like parents are always calling CPS on other parents to fuck with them, and you never know what's true. So leave it to the people who were involved, who it's actually like their job to make the determination to figure it out.
That's really smart.
And like, there's no gain from me going on social media saying, you have to believe Jesse. I'll tell you though, one more thing that made me skeptical immediately, even because I was, like I said, I was scared. That's the truth. When I heard this, like that was terrifying. They showed his picture like post attack and I'm like, he doesn't actually look that fucked up. And that like kind of rang my alarm. I'm like, if they're putting a noose on him and dumping bleach on him, like his face looks pretty good.
I need you in my life as a skeptic and a filter for stuff, you know? I appreciate that you come to everything with like really a level head and a grain of salt on stuff like this, honestly. Well,
can I tell you something? Like, can I shift out of this just really briefly? Something that like happened to me while I just returned from San Diego. I was at a critical care medicine conference. It was incredible. I loved it. But we got an Uber or a Lyft to a vegan restaurant, and we're lifting back. And at the very end of the ride, this driver gets wind that we're from Portland, and he stops the car. He ends the fare, and he goes on his Portland rant.
What?
He's like, Portland's the fucking fakest place. They're all fake, passive aggressive. They won't even rage. Portlanders are fake.
Wow.
And I was just like,
intensity to his.
He was awesome. I was like, oh my God. He's so right. Like here I have been completely trying to figure out like what is wrong with the world today or right and what is wrong with me or right because I cannot get with this, like what I feel like is a lack of authenticity. Well, apparently like that means fake. Like a lack of authenticity means fake. And then, it's like we were talking on the podcast, like everybody has to be so nice and you have to be so nice and you're nice at the sake of like being who you are or having a personality. And I'm like, that's fake. And I'm like, it's just Portland. Like this guy just ended all this existential grief I've been feeling. Like
shifted it for you.
It's just Portland.
Okay.
It's just the culture of our city. We're fake. We're fake.
All right.
Thank you, Bo from Lyft.
Bo from Lyft.
And we don't rage.
We don't rage.
I rage.
I will say I don't rage, but I don't know that I think that I don't think I would consider myself fake. I feel like I can have a good rant every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I rage.
Are you passive aggressive? Because it was fake, passive aggressive, and don't rage.
No, I'm not passive aggressive. I don't know. You know me pretty well. I don't know if you're going to call me out and tell me I'm passive aggressive on this show.
I would not do that. I would not do that. And I don't think you are.
I don't think I am.
I don't think you are. But even if I thought you were, I wouldn't be like, yeah, you're passive aggressive. I'm going to rage on you.
Was it passive aggressive of me to ask you if I was passive aggressive? We might be just circling the drain on this one. Anyway, I would not say that I rage, but I can certainly see why, that's even evident in the way that we drive, where everyone stops at a four-way sign and like waves everyone else on instead of just following the rules.
Yeah. Well, so Joey and I were talking about this because this truly came as a, I would say epiphany, but it came to me via a Lyft driver. So I don't think that counts as epiphany. But
I do.
I was like, I told him about it and he loved the story. And then I was like, so he's like, but it's weird because there's like nobody from Portland's even from Portland. It's a big melting pot. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what
true.
it is. Because people are coming from like LA where the culture in LA is like, what the fuck are you looking at?
Yeah.
And all these other places and they're like, Portland is so nice. Everyone's so nice. They all say hi. So it's all these assholes like going like, hi.
I do think that people who are actually from Portland are not fake. There are a lot of, I only know a handful of people who are from here, and all of them actually have very strong opinions about like what's happening in the neighborhoods, how the city's getting congested, the way that people drive. There are some very strong opinions.
Do they rage?
I'm thinking about, who I'm thinking about that is from Portland, who ran Ragnar with us is Gabe.
Yeah, does he rage? Gabe rages.
Gabe rages.
Gabe rages.
He might be listening. He put something on our Facebook page the other day. He does rage, right? And he's from here, and he's like mad about it,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else I know offhand that's from here that's mad about it. But I think there are some true Portlanders that do rage. But you're right. A large part of
I'm speaking generally as a culture.
Weirdness around it probably has a lot to do with everyone. I don't know, 75% of the city being transplants. Yeah, me being one of them too. Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. I love that you had your epiphany via Lyft driver. I would have it no other way, frankly.
Yeah, it makes my life so much easier. Like I don't have to wonder anymore. Now I know.
Aww.
Yeah.
Things are right in the world for you, for your perspective.
So I'm going to teach my puppy to rage.
Yes. He's finding his voice.
Joey and I are going to go out this weekend and rage.
Yeah. Are you going to rage at? Are you going to, when you say it like that, it makes me think you're going to party. But I don't know. You're just going to drive around and yell at people or something.
I think we're going to go to a club and start a fight.
Oh, watch out. Yeah. Can you please wear some hoops so you can take them off? That's going to be part of it. We could send Mark along so he could video it for the clip of the week.
Yeah.
That would be great. Sandy rages at nightclub.
Rage.
I love it.
We rage.
Speaking of rage, the other thing this is actually a nice transition. Not nice. It's a accurate transition. I watched a thing on Amazon Prime this week it's a 4-part docuseries about Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yes. So,
hey, Boo, listen to this.
So this was fascinating. First of all, I did not realize it's been 25 years since she goes by Lorena Gallo, which is her maiden name, since Lorena Gallo severed John Wayne Bobbitt's penis after he had been...
Lorena rages.
Lorena rages.
She's not fake and she is not passive aggressive. She is aggressive.
Yeah. So there is so much stuff. So apparently, this happened in 1993. So I definitely remember when it happened.
Good year.
Yeah.
Good year for feminists.
Yeah. Do you remember when it happened?
Yeah. I remember the story. I don't know like where I was.
Right. Yeah. So it was really fascinating because I was 13 at the time. I remember that there was a discussion about violence against women that was underlying kind of the case. But so much of it was about just like the just about like just the wildness of, you know, that she had cut his dick off basically, right? So Jordan Peele, who is part of Key and Peele, is the producer on this 4-part series, and it's actually the first episode is really pretty funny because it actually interviews all of the cops that responded to the scene, and they were all like, none of them wanted to say, they're all like these conservative old white guys from Virginia. None of them even wanted to say the word penis. Like, they were like, and then all of a sudden they interviewed a neighbor who was like, oh yeah, she cut his dick off and she threw it out the car window.
Well, I mean, I think that's the most incredible part of the story is somebody went and found it.
Yeah, so they talked about the officer that found it. So all the officers were talking about responding to it and how in 1993 there wasn't, you know, there's no cell phone communications. So they're all hearing this chatter over the radio about like, you know, and they're like, can't believe what they're hearing, and it's on their radio, and now they have to go try to find it in a field because apparently she was like driving, she's driving and she doesn't know what to do. She got the knife in the one hand, which she throws out the window, and then she's got the dick in the other hand, and she told in this interview that she stuck her arm out the window and threw it over the top of the car like a baby hook, like a sky hook, as if she was a basket. Anyway, it was the first episode of this is actually pretty entertaining because it's kind of just like the wildness of the whole thing. But then it really gets into it really goes into the fact I didn't know that there were 2 trials at the time. He ended up being on trial for assault and battery, and then she ended up being on trial for
assault and battery.
Now, the other thing that complicated all of it was that, another reason why I don't really remember because I didn't remember if she like served time or if he served time or like what happened. But also this happened right as their trials were getting started. Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding happened, where she hit Nancy Kerrigan in the knee, and also the Menendez brothers trial was going on. So there's like a lot of crime and there was like a lot of insanity happening in the U.S.
It was a really good time.
It was a crazy time.
It was a good time for true crime.
Good time for true crime. Well,
when was the not Lorena Bobbitt, but Foucault? Amy
Must
Fisher.
have been a little earlier, I think.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was a little, but not much in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in this docuseries, they're showing, you know, the first episode, they're showing a lot of the stand-up comics because all the comics had just a field day with this story, right? So Whoopi Goldberg is doing a stand-up comedy special, and she's like, it's 1993 and women are pissed. And it was so fascinating to me. Like, we've just heard that, you know, it was like 2016 where we're marching down on Hawthorne saying like, my rights aren't up for grabs. We're pissed. Like, you know, what it was like. So sometimes we think we've come so far, and watching this, I was like, oh my God, we really have not made much progress. And it was pretty sad. So anyway, what happened was, I'm just going to wrap it up quick, but what happened was, he was found not guilty, because apparently, testimony related to his abuse of Lorena was, limited to a 5-day period before this event, and they didn't have much to go on. And then she was, it was interesting that in her trial, there was witness after witness after witness that came to, I mean, they probably had 30 witnesses on the stand that testified to bruises, to abuse, to emotional abuse, verbal abuse. I mean, she had been abused for a very long time. And so anyway, her plea was a plea of temporary insanity called irresistible impulse. So the jury found her not guilty by means of temporary insanity, irresistible impulse, but she was then committed, because it was an insanity defense, she was committed to a state hospital for 45 days.
Well, that's a nice little break.
Well,
I'm good with that.
She said she was terrified because she did not entirely understand that she thought she would be going home when she was found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity, and instead she was remanded to the bailiff and put in a car and taken to a fucking state mental hospital with like criminally mentally insane people.
I mean, she did cut somebody's dick off.
Yes. So what was fascinating about it is that, and then, you know, she talked about how she had this moment in the hospital where she realized, I have to do work around this. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Where she was like,
that's good. So this hospitalization was therapeutic.
It was. So they had a doctor on that talked about like PTSD and therapy around PTSD and how talking about it helps, blah, blah, blah. She had shared this moment of like really having kind of a come to Jesus moment. She was Ecuadorian and raised in Venezuela and very Catholic. And she talked very, in a really succinct way about how her spirituality and religion were like, this is just another thing I have to go through. I'm just going to do it, you know? And she kind of really faced all of that trauma. And the really fascinating thing is that John Wayne Bobbitt did not face any of his trauma, because apparently it comes out later. He had suffered a lot of abuse as a young child. which he only mentions kind of like in one line or whatever. And he did a bunch of horrific things, and then, you know, made a bunch of pornos, and like in his life, like really, really went off the rails. And towards the end, by the end, it's just like this really interesting juxtaposition of like what happens when shit goes sideways and you fucking look at it and you know, do some work around it, and what happens when you just bury it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, whew. So anyway, I will say that it is a little triggering. There is a lot of really explicit discussion about like the abuse that she was on the receiving end of. But it was it was interesting. I was surprised at how interested I was in the whole thing. So, and how little progress has really been made in the arena of violence against women and in the arena of domestic violence, and like how, you know, thousands of women die every year at the hands of their partners still, and thousands of women are not believed when they come forward with stories, and just like it was a little disheartening in that way, in that sense too, though. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but I do want to shift gears into one other weird, funny thing before we get into our listener question.
Okay.
Okay. So I saw this website today, and it's called joethepeoplefollower.com. And it is a guy who will follow you around, and he will stay 10 feet behind you, and he will not interfere in your life, and you just hire him to follow you around. I can't think of any reason other than like maybe for safety that you would want to have someone follow you around.
He doesn't describe on the website why this might be a benefit.
No, it's kind of a cute website. I should have sent it to Mark, because it's like joethefollower.com, and it's like 4 little pictures of him standing very far away from the person that he's been hired to follow anyway. So
that reminds me of that TV show Maniac.
Yes, exactly, because it does seem like they're kind of following each other.
Well, and they had the people that if you let them come and tell you advertisements in your ear, they would give you a little bit of money and like get a bus fare or whatever.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool sci-fi thing. But yeah, so that was similar.
But there was this like overtone through the whole series of isolation and loneliness. And so I think that that's actually why it reminds me of it. And because the only reason off the top I could think of why you would want somebody to follow you but not interact with you is like the isolation loneliness thing. Like you're not alone, but you don't actually know how to interact with people anymore.
Yeah. No, that might be the gist of it, because I think it does also say like you're not alone. There is a loneliness isolation component to it. Anyway, I thought the website is adorable, and it just kind of made me smile a little bit, like to think of having a doppelganger or somebody 10 feet behind you at all times. So
it's true, like you don't have to be alone.
You don't have to be alone.
You don't want to.
And if you live in Portland, you can get cuddled. You can pay someone to cuddle you. You can pay someone to follow you. I don't know where this guy's located. I don't know where Joe the People Follower is, but maybe he travels. I have no idea. All right. Well, we have a great listener question for this evening.
We do.
I need to pull it up on my phone quick so that I can get to it here. Let's see. This is a listener question from a listener. I'm not sure if she wants to remain anonymous or not, so I'm going to keep her anonymous since I didn't clarify with her.
Can we give her like a fake name just for fun?
Yeah, what should we give her? What kind of fake name should we give her?
Well, I named my ponytail Trudy, so that's taken. Dolly.
Done.
Dolly.
You are the namer. Thank you.
Is that okay? Is that a good name?
I dig it. Okay, so Dolly writes, firstly, thanks for the show. Truly,
my best friend in high school, her parents were Don and Dolly.
Shut up right now. Were they super nice?
They were. They were like the typical American family. Don and Dolly.
Don and Dolly. I love it. Okay.
They had a boat.
Oh, yeah.
Don and Dolly with a boat.
I'm not surprised.
And a Cocker Spaniel.
I was going to say, did he work in car sales or something? I don't know why that sounds to me like a car salesman. Family name.
I don't
Do you know what he did?
I think it's possible. I
or
just don't recall. It was something car related because they had a 3-car garage, which is kind of unheard of where I'm from. And he had an old car that he was restoring, and he was totally into cars.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow.
So it's possible. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. I'm here for that. Okay. Okay. So Dolly says, firstly, thanks for the show. Truly appreciate the fun, honesty, and openness about the real shit. Also, I need your help. I have a major interest in a man I see often.
Yeah.
Okay. We're already halfway there. You see him pretty
crush.
regularly. I love a crush. Yes. Oh my God. I am fully practicing self-love and authenticity and doing a damn good job at it. Hell yeah. snaps to that. I'll take anyone that's willing to be
Well,
proud about
I'm
that.
highly skeptical. No, I'm just kidding. I know who this is, so I'm actually not. But but normally I would be highly skeptical.
Okay.
I reserve the right to be skeptical.
You do. It's good.
But we're taking that at face value.
We'll take it at face value. The question is, do you ever make the first move? ? Why/why not ? Try not to force something, but damn, I want to know him.
Naked.
Know him in the biblical sense, girl.
Naked.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I was trying to think about whether or not, I don't know if I have any hard and fast rules about making the first move.
Have you ever made the first move?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Can you tell the story?
I know. I'm trying to think of which one.
Tell me. You're like, maybe one when you weren't drunk.
I know, yeah. I'm like trying to think of, okay. So first of all, I will say that with my husband, I did not make the first move. He made the first move. And he made the first move after I gave him a bunch of rules about when he could and couldn't make the first move. I told him that we had to go on a certain number of dates, that like there were
you're talking about physically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about that, but I wasn't even thinking about.
She's not going to just walk up and lay one on him. She's like, the way I interpreted this is she gonna just be like, hey, dude, what's up? I'm trying to think of like what that first move might look like. Like,
let's go grab.
Do you want to go grab coffee?
Grab coffee. You want to go see a show?
That's
whatever.
how I interpreted
Yeah.
it. Not like,
no, that's definitely the
not
correct
like put
way.
her vagina in his face. Like, oh hi, look at
Hey,
this.
can I sit on your face?
Right.
No, you absolutely interpreted it the correct way. I don't know what's wrong with me that I was thinking about it. Well, there's nothing wrong with me. I was just thinking about it in a different way. Okay.
It's okay. I like where your mind's at. I really do.
Physically, I think it's totally fine to make the first move. I think it's fine to make the first move all the time.
Right.
Because
I remembered a story of you making the first move.
oh my God, tell me.
Well, I'm afraid to bring it up because you've already mentioned the person. And you've already mentioned the person tonight.
Oh my gosh. Now I can't think of who I already mentioned. I have to go back through my list and be like, who is it that I talked about? I can't.
It was Tristan. No, I'm just kidding. It was Offset.
It was Offset. I need to work on sculpting my brows a little bit more. I don't quite look like all of the, Kardashians. I'm not quite as cookie cutter as them.
I want to text it to you, but we'll leave the person's name out of it, but you had a great story. You had been on a couple dates with this guy and you didn't know, like he wasn't making a move and you were frustrated. So you brought him back to your apartment. You're like, I just jumped on top of him and started kissing him.
Oh yeah, I did. You're right. Okay. Our
That
listener,
was a great story.
Yes, that's true. And it totally scared him off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
But this is not going to be our advice, I don't think.
No,
but let's keep going.
I can tell this story. So I had been flirting with a guy that I knew in sobriety, and we had gone on a couple of dates or whatever, or we had gone on. I can't even remember. We must have gone on a date because we were out together, like having dinner.
My recollection, it was a couple dates.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'd gone on 2 dates.
Memory's imperfect, though.
And we had gone on those dates because we had a third party kind of arrange us, like I had told my girlfriend that I was into that guy, and then it was our friend Gabe. So I had told my girlfriend Catherine that I was into him, and then Catherine told her boyfriend, and then her boyfriend told. I mean, it was like so. It was so elementary the way it all came together. So anyway,
it always is.
That's
so love.
Gabe and I had gone on a couple of dates because we had through the grapevine discovered that we were crushing on each other pretty hard. And then after the second date, I was like, or during the second date, I was like, he's not making a move. Maybe he's really shy. Like I'll go ahead and bring him back to my apartment. And I did kind of just jump all over him. And then never heard from. It wasn't. We ended up running that race together, but I mean, it wasn't that I never heard from him again. But I definitely I killed whatever was going on.
It got awkward.
It got very awkward, and now maybe even more awkward. I don't think so though. I don't think he's a regular listener.
You know why it's not awkward, even if he's listening. Like Gabe, this is like one of those stories that go down in the books. If we had when Heidi told me this story, it was so funny the way that you told it. And I just have this vision, like you told the story so well that the vision is still in my mind of you jumping on top of him.
Yeah.
And I think you said like a porn star.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure. Yeah.
And then you're like, and then there was nothing.
There was really nothing going on. It was very like, I also seem to remember having stuck my foot in his face. Like I had a pedicure or something and I was like, look at my toenails. And like, he was like, get your foot away from my nose. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
So we'll circle back to the story as we answer this question, because there are some signs that even though we're probably going to, well, I know I'm going to say yes, it's like totally awesome to make the first move, but keep your mind open to the signs.
Yeah. And know that it's very possible that if you, or ignore the signs and know it can get a little awkward. Yeah. But even then, like, the reality I feel like is being in full authentic self and being a sober woman, I was like, okay, this is a little awkward, but it just wasn't the drama that it used to be. I was like, okay, whatever. He doesn't care. I don't care.
From where I'm sitting, it's a funny, adorable story. Yeah. And knowing you and knowing him, like, there's no shame in it. I think it's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was pretty funny. And so I do think, if in case that doesn't give it away, I think it's great to make the first move. I love the confidence of going up to someone that you're interested in and saying, hey, I want to get to know you better. Can we go have coffee? That's basically what Jeff did to me on our first date. I want to get to know you better. Let's go have coffee. It was a couple of months before our actual first date, So, and I think as women, I will speak for myself that when I was dating, I was getting better at this because of the practice of using Tinder and stuff.
Oh, right.
Right? Because first I could swipe right on someone to be like, oh, I think you're hot. And then I could message them to say like, do you want to get together? And even just the practice of doing that electronically made it easier for me to ask someone out in person.
So when did you ask someone out in person?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I was trying to think about, I just know that I have definitely asked men to like, go grab a cup of coffee with me. But I'm blanking at the moment as to who that might be.
But you have.
I definitely have. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really loved the confidence that it gave me when I was drinking. I certainly had no problem being like, let's go get some drinks. It was a little awkward in sobriety at first to try to do that. Cause I was like, does anyone want to go have coffee? But people do want to have coffee or have a snack or have a afternoon or go see a show. You know? So that's kind of where I come down on it. So I definitely think it's great to make the first move. I do think, talking about the signs, like know that there is like a 50-50 chance, right? Like you might make the first move and he might say no. And so I just feel like if you can live with the fact that he might say no and you're still going to see him regularly, then definitely go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know in sobriety if I've ever made the first move. So the way I have to preface this is saying like, that book, He's Just Not That Into You. Mm-hmm. I actually believe most of the dogma in that book is true. Mm-hmm. So if a guy's into you, he's gonna know, you're gonna know, and you're not gonna have to, like she said, force anything. Right. You will not have to feel like you're forcing anything. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that you have to wait around for them to just like decide that they want to get to know you.
I love that.
So like I say, yes, absolutely. You want to know him more. You should give yourself the opportunity to know him more. Mm-hmm. And like you said, and then it'll just go from there. And she's saying she doesn't want to force anything. It's like, well, then fine. Don't force anything. Right. Getting to know somebody or giving somebody the opportunity to get to know you is not forcing anything.
I agree.
It's just, you will know, especially because you are living in a way that is true to yourself and you do operate in self-love. You'll know when you're forcing it. It'll feel really uncomfortable. Yeah. And then if that occurs, then that's when you stop. But yeah, if you want to get to know him, you absolutely owe yourself the opportunity to at least do that. Try. And here's the thing, like you'll probably get to know him and you'll be like, oh, he's actually not as dope as I thought he was. Like, I feel like that's probably half of what happens.
Well, I really love that we're having this conversation because I got one of the thoughts that I had was partly what you started out with, but I didn't get to the second part of it. So I'm glad you did. Because I was thinking like, well, maybe it is possible. I do kind of believe that like, if someone's interested in you, like you can tell what their vibe is, like you're going to know whether or not he's interested. But I loved that you finished it off by saying, but you don't have to wait around for him to make the first move on that, you know? So, and the other thing I was thinking of is that it does really, when I think about dating or thought about dating as my most authentic, sober woman, because like there was times in my sobriety when I wasn't really tuned into all this stuff. So I'm thinking about like in later sobriety, as I had done some more work and figured out more about myself and I was dating, it was helpful to me to kind of dial it all back and remember that like dating is really just getting some information about someone. It's just getting to know someone a little bit better. And one of the things that helped me do that was I had a woman that I was working with who suggested that I not make out with anyone until I'd gone on 4 dates with them, which seems like very arbitrary and very like a little draconian, very boring. I get it.
Huh, boo. boring.
all the stuff, but it took a lot of the pressure off of that first date because I knew in my brain, like, I'm probably not going to make out with this person no matter what. I'm going to try not to because that's been suggested to me. So really, it really is just a fact-finding mission. How interesting are they? How interested in them am I? What do I really know about them?
Well, yeah, but if here's the thing, if you like want to fuck somebody, you're not going to care how interesting they are until you fuck them.
That's true.
I mean, you know, you're just like, you're going to be waiting until like, because, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's that's what I think. Because so here's the thing: this person who wrote the question, really, you're attracted to this guy. You don't know him. You want to get to know him because you're attracted to him.
Yeah,
and he probably seems cool. He probably has like this really like good energy or something, but it's all attraction. So whatever, so she decides that they're going to go on 4 dates before they make out. Everything he says until she fucks him is going to be God's plan.
Yeah.
And then when she fucks him, then things might change. And you know, my experience with dating, I absolutely agree. It's a fact-finding mission, but it took me with some guys 2 months to see like the true like red flags. It took me 4 months with one guy to see. I don't know that it's something that you can find on 4 dates. And
certainly.
So you may as well fucking make out. And IMHO. At least get that out of it. But the other thing I really wanted to say is when I met my husband online. And when I went online with a specific purpose to choose myself and to make the first move. I did not want to respond to anybody who was reaching out to me. Like, I wanted to find somebody I was attracted to and wanted to meet. And my now husband is one of the 3 people that I selected for that. And so in that way, I made the first move. And, you know, the story, we fell in love. I'm married to the love of my life. But what he told me is he never would have reached out to me online. He just didn't think that I'd be interested in him, and he never would have reached out to me. And just based on that alone is why I would say, yeah, absolutely make the first move. Let the guy know you're interested in getting to know him better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And then, like I said, the only follow-up to that I have is just be prepared that he might say no. And if he says no, it's not a big deal. There's like millions of other guys out there, and you can stand seeing him, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe you never see him again. Maybe you go somewhere else that you don't see him.
That was like the dopest thing about, I mean, and this is real self-love.
Yeah.
So this is your test. This is, if I'm skeptical, this is how you're going to be tested.
Here's the litmus test, yes.
So
drum roll, please.
If you make the first move and say he says no, or how it really actually happens is he says yes, and then you go out and then he kind of strings you along for a while, or he just texts you for 2 weeks, or you know how bullshit is.
Yeah.
That's how it really actually goes. And that's when that's when a self-respecting woman is like, oh, okay, he's just not that into me.
Yeah.
So if that were to happen, if you can know that, yes, that's disappointing, but that has nothing to do with you, it's about him, and keep it moving, then you pass the test.
Yeah,
then you
I agree.
are working with your authentic self, and you do love yourself.
Yeah.
And that was a powerful, powerful piece of dating for me.
Yeah.
I didn't hit with all of them. And like I did have this sort of like, my notches in my bedpost weren't sexual. They were like, they always ask me out for a second date. But some of them were just not available. Some of them were still in love with their ex. Some of them were this or that. And to be powerful enough to know that like, that's about them.
Not
He's
you.
still in love with his ex. That has nothing to do with me. I could be the juiciest peach, but there's always going to be someone who likes apples.
That's right.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, I that is a really powerful piece too. Like, some people just can't roll with you, right? Like, that's kind of my interpretation of that, where it's like, you know, if he's still in love with his ex, then it really doesn't matter how amazing you are, because you're not his ex. Right. So it doesn't matter. Bye. Yes. There's somebody else. Yeah. He's not for you. Right. You know, so it's like, I love that litmus test. That's fantastic advice, Sandy. God damn, you are good.
I'm good.
You're good.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You got this.
This was an amazing listener question. I kind of want to ask our listener, Dolly. I forgot her fake name for a minute.
You got this, Dolly.
You got this, Dolly. I want to ask Dolly to follow up with us and let us know how it goes.
Dolly should definitely
I want her to follow up with us to let us know if she decides to ask him out. And I also want to know, like, if they go out and how it is. I don't know. So follow up.
Yeah, and I want to know more about him.
Yeah.
Or her.
Can you just let us weigh in on every stage?
Yeah. Now that I've given you this incredible advice, just let me be that person who stands behind you but doesn't interact with you.
That's right. Hire
That'd be
us.
great.
Maybe we'll get an agreement with Joe the People Follower, and we'll be like Joe the People Follower West Coast version or something.
We could go out on their first date with them, but like sit like 2 tables away.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh, I want to do that so bad.
Oh, Dolly, I'll put makeup on.
I know.
I
Me
will
too.
not go looking like
I feel like we
this.
just discovered the perfect side hustle to our side hustle, which
Right.
would be to be hired for going on dates as chaperones, but we'll stay very far away.
We won't interact.
And whoever you're dating won't know.
We'll just give you the look.
Yeah, we'll make a secret signal like Carol Burnett with the ears or something.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go like this. Podcast ear muffins. Anyway, I love that. That is a great way to wrap up the show. This is just about the time that we need to do that. Do you have anything else that you want to add to the show or the segment, Sandy? Anything else?
I love talking about dating. We should do it more.
All
And
the
crushes and all that shit.
God, crush.
That was like the bummer about like the way I met Joey is we just like connected so quickly. I never had time to just like exist in a crush with him and just
Yeah.
like have that like desire.
Yeah. I will tell you that Jeff and I went on our first date, and then he went away to New Hampshire for 2 weeks or something. And there was a good period of, I mean, that felt like a nice little period to just crush super hard and kind of text some cutie messages, but no nudes or anything yet.
Well, I do have a crush on Little Weebay now.
Oh, little Weebay is so cute. He's so cute. Anyway, we are wrapping up the show tonight. We want all of our listeners to send us any kind of questions. Oh, whoever's listening to us in Egypt, send us a question. Hope you're learning great English from us. Send your questions you can email your questions to goldengirls@allgoldpod.com. You can DM them to us on Instagram. I'm at honeybee52. Sandy is at therealsandyj. Or you can send them to the show at all.gold.pod. Which would be amazing.
Yes.
Yes. So we are sending you lots of love and light and gold. From Portland.
Stay vigilant.
What miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold.